Today, I am announcing the charges against David Anthony Burke, the musician known as David, spelled D4vd, in connection with the brutal and horrific murder of Celeste, a 14-year-old at that time. These charges include the most serious charges that a DA's office can bring. That is first-degree murder with special circumstances. The special circumstances being lying in wait, committing this crime for financial gain, or murdering a witness in an investigation. These special circumstances carry with it, along with the first-degree murder charge, a maximum sentence of life without the possibility of parole or the death penalty.
Now, just not to get gruesome, so our heart goes out to Celeste and her family, obviously. I heard from an interview that I was watching on some of the investigators that allegedly that she had been put into pieces. They had put her into pieces. They had cut her up and allegedly were in like separate bags, maybe. I don't know if I was just watching a news video and I was just like, what? Like, I don't know every detail of this case, you know, I'm following along, but like, okay, Chesses, I heard that too. Okay. That means it was really deliberate. That means they didn't just kill her and panic and throw her body into the trunk of a car. They attempted to either get rid of the body, they cut it up, they did horrible things. Like, I know there were conspiracy theories going around, but it makes me wonder if the special circumstances had something to do with, like, was it like a gang related activity or like some sort of group of men trafficking? I mean, why was she even hanging out with them in the first place? Like, they obviously targeted her because she was young and she was partially a runaway. Remember, her parents were having a hard time, you know, keeping track of her. She's a perfect target for trafficking. So I wonder if it's somehow related.
The determination on whether or not the district attorney's office will seek the death penalty will be made at a later time. Before I get into the actual charges, and there are additional charges against Mr. Burke, including continuous sexual acts, lewd and lascivious sexual acts with an individual under 14 years old, and mutilating a human remains of a body. Before I get into
okay, I wasn't sure if it was proven that if he had done stuff to her, but it sounds like it's been proven that he engaged with her.
The description of these charges and their seriousness, I want to look at this as a parent. I'm a parent of 3 children, and a parent's nightmare is a situation where your daughter goes out one night and never comes back. As we will show in a court of law, and what I also want to make sure about that the understanding of these charges is clear, is my description of these charges is not evidence that we are going to present in court. These charges, in fact, will not be evidence in the court. Evidence will be the witness testimony, the documents, and different types of admissible testimony that we will admit into court in the prosecution, and if it leads to the eventual trial of Mr. Burke, to convince a jury of 12 people beyond a reasonable doubt that each and every one of these charges is true, as well as the special allegations and circumstances that have been alleged. Now, back to this being a parent's nightmare. On April 23rd, 2025, as been alleged by the complaint, Celeste, a 14-year-old at that time, went to Mr. Burke's house in the Hollywood Hills. She was never heard from again. On September 8th, 2025, as alleged in the complaint, Miss Celeste remains, her dismembered and decomposed remains, were found in 2 bags inside of a front trunk of a car registered to Mr. Burke. Thereafter began an investigation. The investigation was to determine who murdered Celeste months and months before. That investigation was carried out in unison and in partnership between the LAPD's Robbery Homicide Division and the District Attorney's Office. At every point in the investigation, through the arrest and the filing of charges, the LAPD and the District Attorney's Office have worked in lockstep. There's been no disagreements amongst these entities in deciding how to proceed with this case, ultimately leading to these charges today. So what you have as well with these charges is that, again, there are 3 sets of charges that have been brought. The first-degree murder with special circumstances, and again, those special circumstances are lying in wait. That Celeste went to Mr. Burke's home on the night of April 23rd, 2025, as alleged in the complaint, at his invitation, and again, was not heard from again. The second is a special circumstance being that this murder was committed for financial gain. As the evidence will show in court, the financial gain was for Mr. Burke to maintain his very lucrative musical career that Celeste was threatening on that particular night.
Is that why I saw a theory going around that she might have been pregnant? So do you guys think, like, is that the theory that she told him she was pregnant and he realized it was going to ruin his career? Or that she was going to come out with it or something? I don't know that she was pregnant. I don't know. But I know people were saying that might be true. And then even more than that she might have told somebody. So, that's very interesting. And I can see more than likely, right, that he had the realization. The question is, how many people were involved in it? Was it him and a buddy who got, you know what I mean? Or was it him alone who acted alone? Because I know another man was arrested, right, initially.
The third charge, in addition to lying in wait and for financial gain, is murdering a witness to an investigation.
Wait, what is that? Murdering a witness to an investigation? What does that mean? Does that mean somebody, like, what is that?
In this particular case, as the evidence will come out in court, the witness to the investigation was Celeste. And the investigation was into the lewd and lascivious sexual acts committed by Mr. Burke that is the subject of count 2 of this complaint with Celeste.
Wait, how was Celeste the witness? Do I not understand something? Maybe I'm misunderstanding because I don't know the legal terms. I don't get what he's saying. I thought he was insinuating that, like, he killed somebody who was a witness to an investigation, but I guess she was a witness to a crime? Was she the witness and the victim? Oh, so she, like, witnessed the crime and then for her own molestation. Oh, she was the witness to her abuse by David. Oh, got it. Thank you.
While she was under 14 years old.
Damn. Yeah, and Chad says how many people knew too. That's what I want to know too, is how many people knew, how many people saw it, how many adults went by Celeste and no one intervened or said, hey, get out of here. You're not even supposed to be here, right? How many people saw this little girl for the last time?
I had the chance to meet with some of the family members of Celeste.
Oh,
and
wow.
Their grief is incalculable as to what happened to their daughter. What they have demanded, what we have assured them that the district attorney's office working with LAPD would give them is the proof beyond a reasonable doubt on who killed their daughter, on how their daughter was killed, when their daughter was killed, and bring that killer to justice. That killer that we have now charged is David Anthony Burke. We will have questions after I speak and Chief McDonald speaks. At this point, I invite Chief McDonald to speak.
Wow.
Thank you very much. Good morning, and thank you all for being here. I want to begin by expressing my deepest condolences to the parents of Celeste Rivas. No parent or any human being should have to endure what you've gone through. Today, alongside DA Hockman and our partners at the LA County District Attorney's Office, and thanks to the tireless and hard work of our investigators at the LAPD, we're announcing the arrest and prosecution of David Burke for the murder of 14-year-old Celeste Rivas. Throughout the 7-month investigation, this department has faced criticism for how we handled the case and for our decision not to provide details. I want to be clear about something. My duty is not to fuel speculation, it's to deliver justice, and that requires patience and discipline on everybody's part. This investigation was driven by a single purpose: to secure justice for Celeste Rivas and for those who loved her. We had to be certain that nothing we did or said would ever jeopardize this case. Ms. Rivas was a reported runaway from Riverside County. During the course of our investigation, detectives learned that she had been involved in a sexual relationship with Mr. Burke when she was a minor and he was an adult. On April 23, 2025, Ms. Rivas arrived at Mr. Burke's home in the Hollywood Hills. That's the last time she was known to be alive. On September 8, 2025, Ms. Rivas' dismembered and badly decomposed body was discovered in the front trunk of Mr. Burke's impounded Tesla. From that moment forward, our investigators faced an extraordinary, difficult, and complex case. The condition of her remains delayed the medical examiner's ability to be able to determine cause of death.
Wow.
The substantial amount of time that passed between her death and the discovery meant that crucial evidence had degraded or disappeared. And as detectives worked to uncover the truth, they also had to sift through and debunk a great deal of false information circulating publicly. These challenges were real, and they required patience, precision, and an unwavering commitment to the facts. Despite these obstacles, and despite intense public pressure, our Robbery Homicide Division detectives remained steadfast in their duties. They recovered and analyzed a substantial amount of digital and forensic evidence. They stayed focused, disciplined, and committed to uncovering the truth. Their work, in close collaboration with the District Attorney's Office, has brought us to this moment today. I want to thank the District Attorney and his team, as always, for their partnership. This case demanded coordination, persistence, and a shared commitment to justice. Also, thank you to our media partners for showing up today and for sharing this important message with the public. And finally, to Ms. Rivas's family, we cannot undo the pain you are feeling. Our hope is that today brings some measure of accountability and a step in the journey toward healing. Please know that the Los Angeles Police Department remains fully committed to seeking justice on behalf of your daughter. Thank you.
So at this point, we'll take questions.
Anything more you can tell us about the fact that she was a witness to the criminal investigation, that she reported the abuse, who was doing that investigation?
The details of the allegations that have made, particularly with that special circumstance, will be produced in court.
Do you believe involved in that and the difficulty it was to determine both the matter, cause, and date?
So with respect to the coroner's report, we will be seeking quite quickly to provide an order to the court that now allows the coroner to release that report to the public.
Oh.
Do you believe that he
From the BBC, between the finding of the body of Celeste's body or her remains, why has it taken so long for an arrest to be made?
I think the police chief got it right, that in a situation where you don't have an eyewitness account, or we can't point to a video that shows the killer killing someone, you have to go through the very rigorous and thorough investigation to look at all the digital and forensic evidence. You have to speak with witnesses, often who are cooperative, and some who are not cooperative, in order to obtain all the information necessary to decide who did what, when, how, and what their mental state was at the time. That is what we've been doing over the last, between September 8th, roughly, and today when we bring these charges on April 20th. So again, it's a type of case that you want to make sure you get maximum.
I almost wonder too if David got nervous and kind of like flubbed a bit, or if somebody around him under the pressure because it was taking so long, maybe they got comfortable or maybe they got anxious and then maybe somebody came forward, or, you know, it's a lot of pressure on the people who maybe were involved or, you know, thought they were going to get away with it. Like, I mean, I definitely think it was probably weighing on somebody, you know what I mean? Especially if neither of them had ever killed anybody, or this was like a something, you know? So yeah, chances I'm sure one person slipped up, like someone probably did something. I am, you know, what a horrible, like I can't even imagine the pain of the parents or the family members or friends, or just to imagine like, but it really, you know, you just never know. And so it's a heavy one. And I think it's one we should all be paying attention to. And it's why I'm so strict about age gap relationships, and also like, you know, dynamics of power dynamics. Like this situation should never have happened. This is why my focus, especially moving forward, is going to be centered around children, because like she should have been protected. There should have been somebody, one person in that community that said, absolutely not, you should not be here. And this is what we have to train the world to do, is to wonder, why are these kids at these parties with these adults? And we need to do it so rigorously, all of us.
Information. And by the way, if there's anyone out there that has material information about this particular murder or any other actions taken by Mr. Burke, please come forward to the Los Angeles Police Department, come forward to the LA County DA's office, and report that information.
Mr. Hochman, there are other people who were aware of this relationship. Is it possible that you will be arresting other people within his circle, and did he act alone in this death?
Again, with respect to whether or not there's any other individuals or we're going to take any other actions, you will know about them if we do, but at this point I'm not commenting.
Do you believe that you know how she was killed, beyond it being homicide? The actual cause of death?
The coroner's report will be released shortly. Because it is not currently released, I'm not going to be commenting.
So was it determined, not that, if you won't say what it was, but has it been determined how she was killed, beyond it being homicide?
The coroner has made a determination on how Celeste died.
Wow.
At the point that the coroner's report becomes public, we'll be able to comment.
Was there a specific breakthrough last week? Is there physical evidence that ties David to this murder?
There is physical evidence and there is forensic and digital evidence
Oh,
that
wow.
we intend to present in court to prove these charges beyond a reasonable doubt.
So within your investigation, and just to his question, are you able to tell us exactly what the smoking gun is? And also, if you can address the issue of his visit
No.
to Santa Barbara, and that, how does it connect with the murder?
So with respect to the actual details of the evidence we're going to be presenting in court, I'm not going to do that today. As far as
What a waste of a question. Why do they ask questions they know he's not going to answer?
the concept of a smoking gun, The smoking gun is the totality of the evidence that we're going to bring to prove any case, whether it's this case or any case, beyond a reasonable doubt.
Is there any evidence that you've used on underage girls that you investigated?
An investigation is ongoing. If information comes forward on any with respect to any additional crimes, we will certainly investigate it.
One more question. One more. There's been so much discussion about the difficulties in this case. The chief talked about it as well. What makes you confident you can prove these allegations?
What makes us confident is the totality of the evidence.
He answered that already. These people don't know how to ask questions. He already answered that. Ask a different question. We want to know. See, if we were there, we'd ask better questions. He already answered this question 3 times. You guys wasted 3 different questions asking the same questions.
That has been obtained by the LAPD robbery homicide.
Is it because, pause. Is it because they're reporting for their own newspaper, so they have to ask him the question again so they can get their own quote? I'm such a streamer brained. So is that why they have to do that? So they can say, we asked him the question. Oh, my bad. I'm a streamer. What do I know?
By the work that the district attorney's office has done, that has led us to the point where we believe we can prove each and every one of these three charges and the special circumstances and the special allegation beyond a reasonable doubt.
Okay, girl. Okay. Damn. Justice for Celeste. Justice for all. And hey, I'll be real. If he already had a pattern of hitting on young girls, there's a chance there were other victims of, if not murder, of course, assault, molestation, sexual and something, flirtation, text messages, DMs. There's a very big probability it wasn't just her. But I will say this, I am absolutely devastated for her family. I'm devastated for her. She had so much of her life ahead of her. And I am terrified for all these young girls, all these young boys, all these they, thems, all these young kids in positions of fandoms and, looking up to people and wanting to be showered with love and affection and approval from these celebrities. And so I beg streamers, celebrities, Instagrammers, please set a boundary with you and your audience. Set a boundary. Be very cautious with who you're hanging out with, even if they are legal adults, and stop putting people in a position to even in any way be taken advantage of by you, your coworkers, people around you, your security, your boys, whatever. Because to me, this says that not one single person around them was safe for Celeste. Not one single person. Unless, of course, we hear that people did come forward and try to intervene, but it sounds like right now, it just sounds like that perfect recipe of a young girl who's looking up to somebody. And by the way, David has a lot of collaborations with some of people's favorite streamers. So those streamers, I do kind of expect them to come out and say something on behalf of the victims in some aspect. Like, your face is forever in that music video. You are forever associated with this man. And I do kind of expect people to send a message to their audience members. You never know who you're around. So please be cautious, even if they're your favorite streamer, even if they're your favorite whatever. Remember that you don't know who somebody is, and you must be cautious. Do not think they're a good person just because you like their music or you like their political takes. Okay? It is not enough to like somebody's political take. You never know. Okay? And you deserve better than a world that makes you think that, what your favorite person says on the internet is enough to know them as a person. It's not.